Hello again, friends, and you are my friends. I'm going to do a match preview. I'm, of course, your host, the Gov. Looking forward to it's Blackburn for the third time. It feels like I've done this match. Well, I have done this match preview twice before, but it feels like I've done it many more times than that. But welcome on, welcome all. Whether watching live or on catch up, please do let us know your thoughts and opinions. We want to know who you expect to play, who you would start, your score predictions, Town's lack of transfer activity. If you're one of these people that's perhaps starting to feel a little bit on edge at the lack of activity, or if you're absolutely fine. If you're absolutely fine, what would be your message to other Town fans who perhaps are getting a little bit on edge in regards to that lack of transfer activity? Wrexham drawn in the FA Cup following Town's victory over Blackpool. Not a lot to talk about in terms of transfer activity, but there's always a game. Well, to say all, there's always a game. We've had a postponement, and this is one of the teams that we were postponed against, or rather, it should have been postponed, but wasn't. And then come 80th minute, it was. Don't forget, hit the like button and subscribe for your Town news, views, fan opinion, and more. And we are partnered with Match Bingo and Stomach Osteopaths. I'm joined by Mr. Ben Adams himself. Ben, as you take yourself off mute, ready to answer this question, I just want to put forward to you first and foremost that question about transfer activity or lack thereof. Some fans are starting to get a little bit on edge. Other fans are saying relax. It's the 14th of January. Where are you in regards to Town's lack of business so far?
It's a good question, because you look at all the socials, you look at everything, and I think the fan base is kind of fairly split down the middle as to whether it's a thing that kind of bothers them or not. It doesn't bother me in the slightest, for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I don't think we've really ever been let down in the transfer window, and I would rather us, I'm saying a bit of a cliche here, I'd rather us hold out for the players we need rather than the ones we want. And there's a big difference between those two things. I think we've had a transfer window where we've signed things because we just got to sign someone. We look at our current strike force. I would say we got them because there was no one else. I'd rather us get no one than the wrong person. But I think also we're shopping in a very different window than a lot of clubs around us. I think we spent a lot of money, and I just think we're shopping in a completely different kind of stratosphere. And I think the stratosphere we're trying to shop in, the players are a lot harder to find. So we're not looking at a fairly standard championship thing to kind of bolster your midfield, that kind of player. A Harry Clark, for example, he signed for Sheffield. He's good at this level. He won't do them any harm. He won't elevate them. But it's a fairly good signing. I think we're signing players who have to be better than that, but then a wider range of teams are trying to find them. My suspicion is it's just very quietly going on. And look at every transfer window that's happened since the American owners have been here. We don't do things early. I kind of accept that's just the way it goes. But all of a sudden, it just comes in a huge wave. Whether it's one or two players worth a lot or lots of players, I suspect it's going to be the latter. They know what we need, and they're not stupid, and they're ambitious, and we have money. You put all those things together, it's just hold your horses for the right one.
Yeah. And look, we're all, I think, even the most patient of Town fans would all love a transfer on the 1st of January at 5 midnight. The window, gets opened and bang, Town complete their business and away you go. Or even the first week or whatever. Of course, we'd all like that. We all want to see those upgrades or those new improvements to a match day squad. It's no different in the summer, and it's fully no different, if not a little bit more urgency shown in January, because obviously it's a season that's fast flowing and moving along really quickly, and games are coming not thick and fast, because we have obviously had a postponement, etc. But you would of course want those signings before or much sooner than later. But of course, as you've said, they've never let us down in the window before. You bet your bottom dollar they're of course not sitting around drinking cups of coffee, playing games of solitaire on their phone, for example. They are working the phones, working the market, as it were, and trying to bring those different pieces in that are going to improve us. I think that's the key thing there. Improve us.
Well, I agree.
A million miles away from a good squad as it is, aren't we?
Yeah, but because the actual number of positions, in my opinion, is actually very small. We're trying to shop
Exactly.
in. I would argue we have got, funnily enough, a cover of left back when Greaves has come in, and it seems to be his best position. So you could argue we've got cover for left back if Leif Davis goes, and that was always a worry of mine. Right back, I really like our right back, but again, you can argue we've got 2 or 3 players to kind of supplement him. On that right, you've got McAteer is not great, but I'm nowhere near the absolute animosity that people are showing a defensive winger for not being Wes Burns of 2 years ago. I don't think even Wes Burns is Wes Burns of 2 years ago, but we have Wes Burns, we have Igley there, we have cover. We need a number 10 and we need a striker. That's it. That's where we're shopping, I think. And those are the 2 hardest positions to fill. Because if you're looking for someone oven ready, who's going to score you 6 or 7 goals, there's going to be 15 teams in for them, So I think we're shopping in the hardest positions to fill on a pitch, and they're generally the most expensive, So if we're looking for a right back to kind of cover, you'll find one in a week. You're not going to find a number 10 who's oven ready, and that's my kind of contention with it.
No, I completely agree. Completely and utterly agree. And Paul says rather the lack of news at this stage and having knee-jerk signings from the off. That I've seen somewhere else. Mike D, we did spend far too long attempting to sign Hackney. Hopefully the same thing doesn't happen this one. Of course, there's always that risk as well that you do pursue a target for a fraction too long. But there's no news coming out of the football club, no rumours. And there's a little bit of a rumour in regards to a potential Chelsea player currently out on loan. But maybe returning, but that is a rumor at this stage. If we hear any more, obviously we'll speak about it in a little bit more detail. But I think you've nailed it. Then I think the important thing to look at it is that old buying a house analogy, right? If you want to go and buy somebody centre forward who's currently in their starting 11 for X amount of money, they're not just going to hand that centre forward over to you without knowing where their next centre forward is going to come from, whether that be in the building, or would that be bringing somebody else in? But of course, even if it's from within the building, they're still going to want somebody else in as a depth piece. If you're going to somebody's bench, like let's go back a year, Kiefer Moore, for example, wasn't starting for Bournemouth. He was still a part of their squad. It was still a player fulfilling a role within the squad of, okay, he's their depth, but he's their depth that we need to replace. That again would need to happen, even if it was a player that's not currently playing. So these things do generally take time because clubs have to source what their alternatives are going to be before they say, okay, let's agree on the deal, and we can get the formalities rolling, as it was. So
I call it Marcus Stewart syndrome. That I remember when we got promoted to the first time to the Premier League, the second time arguably, in '99, and we went out and bought Marcus Stewart, and that's what got us promoted. This incredible oven-ready, otherworldly striker who was just leagues above anything we got, and we got him. The strikers like that don't really exist anymore, and if they do, they're £60 million and they're playing in a Premier League team. So we're not looking for that type of player, even though it's what a lot of people would like. It will be exactly as you say, your squad players, your Kiefer Moores. And we squeezed, 7-8 goals out of him? That's what got us up, fundamentally. But that's all you really need. So it doesn't have to be some marquee wonder kid. You don't have to spend 35 million on someone. I just think it's maybe someone who's got to be good enough for what our ambitions are. And a lot of people say, I see it all over the socials, we need a Marcus Stewart who came in and he got the script. That is a different time era and a different type of player, I think, now.
No, I agree. We do. I agree with both what your opinion and also theirs. Yes, we do. A centre forward is going to come in, score those goals, take us up is what we do need. I also feel we need a central midfield player to go alongside Matasiwa, or certainly cover for Matasiwa if you decide you've got Taylor and Karius, and that's good enough for the remainder of the season, having gotten you to what was second before the postponement. If you feel that midfield there is good enough, fine. I can live in that world. I kind of wouldn't want to. I do want somebody next to Matasiwa, but I can live in it for 4 or 5 months, Ben. But certainly cover for Matasiwa is high on my priority list. Skylar said, if you get one signing to improve the squad, you have done well in January. The pool is not great because of those moving parts that season. Teams have expectations. Successful players, more times than not, are playing in successful teams. They've got their own aspirations, etc. So it's a lot. It's a very different window. But as you've said in the earlier part, the club have always been aggressive in the window and sort of never let us down, really. Going back to League One, Nathan Broadhead came in. That was a big acquisition for that level. The Championship, Kiefer Moore. So, that said, Ben, if I'm sitting here this time next week doing the match preview after Bristol City, looking at the next game at the weekend after that, which I think Sheffield United, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah,
balance it in my brain of schedule. I'm trying to think what schedule have I sort of got planned. But certainly this time next week, I may be a little bit more towards the edge of my seat.
But we've always done it though. Even back in the League One days, we done it late and quietly. It's like it or lump it. I think it's just the way we do it, and doing it late and doing it quietly shot us through 2 leagues. And arguably, it actually happened so well. It happened too quickly. So I'm kind of willing to say I want to give the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, a lot of other teams around us, I'm looking at who's Coventry are signing, I'm looking who Sheffield are signing, I'm looking at who Millwall are signing, and I'm looking at the players. It's a different type of player than what we're looking for, So if you've got a lot of money to spend on a house or a car, you're going to spend a lot. You're going to be a lot more careful about where you spend your money. Because it has to suit a purpose, and the purpose is promotion. So I don't mind the time. So I'm saying I still have a lot of faith. I'm not worried, and I think we've got a pretty good squad anyway. We just need if we had one position, if it would be a striker for me, that's it. Send Akpom back, get a striker in. If that was all we done this window, fair enough. Great, that's a great window for me.
If all we do is
get rid of Akpom and sign a striker.
Well, I don't agree with that. I like Chuba, particularly up front, but we'll come to that, I'm sure, through the course of our match preview. Mike said we get Kiefer Moore, he'd be our first choice. Think that shows some issues we've had over the last few years regarding the striker. Whereas Aid says, gentlemen, other teams, and it's a perfectly valid point, Aid, so thanks for bringing it to the show. Gentlemen, other teams are doing their business early, so part of your argument holds no weight. Your imitation is that the only late winner signs are more likely to be successful. Dino, be a year on 1st of Feb that us fans knew we were down versus Saints in a year, so sorted an experienced striker out. Another good point. Thank you, Dino. Before we move into our match preview part of the show, I want to sort of highlight that we've got a new Talking Town member, TT Crew member. Tom Judges has become a YouTube member. Tom, thank you so much for supporting the platform. Thanks for believing in me as the content creator and really believing in us, really. So thank you ever so much. And we are powered by...
I was saying before we open the show, there's a lot of love out there for Talking Town, and a lot of people watch us. And I sit in the Churchman stand. It'll always be the Churchman stand, upper right hand corner, just perpendicular to the away fans. There's a really cool young guy in there, works behind the kiosk. And I was queuing up for my my really atrocious sausage roll. Sorry, it tastes awful. But I was hungry, so it's that or death. So I was queuing up for my sausage roll. And he was Talking Town. Oh, I love it. He was talking all about Talking Town and what the different people he loves listening to and all that. Talking a bit of football, a bit of banter. He even paid for my hot chocolate for me. But really cool young guy, great energy, listens to the show. He listens to it on his car, I think, when he drives. Just want to give a shout out to you. It's just great to see people who listen and kind of just get their fix, And I always kind of wonder, like, he's such a fan of the show and he's such a fan of the town, and yet he's literally paid to not watch the game. So he hears everything. He loves his football team, but he can't actually see it. And I always wonder how that must be for him. Because there's a little TV on the left-hand side. He must be doing this as he's doing his shift. But just a shout out to you. Good guy, good energy, good way to walk into a stadium.
Excellent. Thank you for watching Talking Town. We're powered by people who watch us and those that support us and go a step further, like Mike D has, Lynn in our chat, AD Crouch, and of course Tom Judge is here as well. If you want to become a member and join us and get access to members first videos, member only videos, obviously got the Discord as well, merchandise discount for members, then please hit the join button on YouTube or head to Ko-Fi. The link is on the screen or in the description. But yeah, we're powered by you here, and thank you, as Ben's highlighted excellently, by those that watch, and you're here watching. So I appreciate every single one of you. Before we go on to our confidence meter, our gut meter test ahead of Blackburn, the trilogy, Ben, the trilogy, Blackburn trilogy. We're going to complete
never-ending Blackburn game.
We're completing it this week. All right. Wrexham in the cup, 4th round. That's the reward for beating Blackpool, and that's Wrexham's reward for beating Nottingham Forest. I'll let you decide whether it truly is a reward for either side. But it forms obviously a part of quite a brutal away schedule coming up.
Five on the bounce, right?
5 on the bounce. Wrexham in consecutive games.
7
What's
days
your
apart.
thoughts? Yeah, what's your thoughts on that one?
It's a bit of a meh one. It can go either way. You could say you want to sort of a Port Vale and try and get through to the next round, although we tend to do awful against rubbish teams. Or do you want your Aston Villas or your Arsenals or your Man Cities? You get absolutely clobbered, and everyone gets kind of post-traumatic stress disorder about what happened last year, and it derails your season. So I suppose you could argue on a form point that maybe it's an okay draw to have. But I looked at it and thought, all right. So I'll have the chicken salad. Yeah, I'm hungry, I suppose. It's one of them. Strange that it's 2 days apart. I think that'll be good for how McKenna approaches games. He's, as we know, as Town fans, he's so analytical. Is it the FA Cup game first, or is it the league?
I believe it is.
I think he'll be using that. I partly think as analysis for the league game the week afterwards. Good to see Brody and Kiefer again if they play. Hope they get some appreciation, but it's meh. Yeah, next round. Wrexham.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I'm still not a Wrexham fan. I don't speak for Wrexham fans. I'd imagine that after beating Nottingham Forest, perhaps they'd be feeling the same, or perhaps they'd be viewing it as a chance to win and progress further in the cup, and look to set up another sort of big glamour tie, if you like. But when you're in the same division, you play each other twice in the league, or you're going to play each other twice, particularly when it's so close together. It's going to, it's really difficult.
Weird, isn't it? It's weird.
Yeah, because a lot of fans will obviously pay to go, but equally, you pay to go that second time only a few days later, and the league is the more important one.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So
and that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with it.
So it's one of those things. Joe says Azon gives the ball away 3 times immediately when he comes on, and putting a cross in that particular went out for throw-ins, becoming more alarming. And Luke says, I'm not sure why he didn't give players more of a chance in a certain role. We've only seen Tuber in a 9 role literally a handful of times. We've only seen Clark in a 10 role a couple of times. Yeah, he sort of started to experiment with that. Not experiment with it, but started to put, only recently really put Jack Clark in that 10 role. I wonder if that's because of recent injuries and illnesses.
It's interesting. Look what McKenna's done over the course of the season. He started with the back line and experimented and swapped and then found it. Then he went in this midfield. He experimented, he swapped, and then he found it. And now he's moved forward to the front line where I think he's experimenting, he's swapping it, and he will find it as well. That back four picks itself now. That's your back four for the rest of the season.
I agree.
For me. And you can argue, and I argued against this at the time actually, but I think I've changed my mind a bit. Maybe we had to do a bit of that, 4 or 5 changes every game to find that. And the same thing happened in midfield. It's Taylor and Matasiwa, and that's the partnership of the season now. Unless he suddenly gets someone incredible in, that's your middle. So now he's doing the same at the front. And the trouble is, as we all know, you have Jayden and Jack in the same position, absolutely tearing it up. Jack Clark in the 10's an experiment, fair enough, but then Nunes is very good. Egley in the 10 I think would be very interesting, but you have Wes coming back. So I just think, okay, everything behind them is pretty sorted, and that's okay by me. And you can argue that, from our left wingers, we've got 17, 18 goals now. So thank goodness, because God knows our strikers are not doing it. So it's a concern, and I'm watching it happen, but I've already seen it happen twice in different positions, and both times he's found what he's looking for. So I have to go on the benefit of the doubt that he's going to do the same up top, probably by sort of mid-February, we all hope.
Yeah, I also, obviously, you got a striker currently not available in George Hurst, so you're using Chuba Akpom more as a striker, so that takes one position out of the 10. You've had Semi Schmonik unwell, so Jack Clark maybe has just been that we've had to, in terms of just giving Nunes some minutes off the field. And we've got to have someone that plays there. Okay, don't forget we are partnered with Match Bingo. We're partnered with them to give you a 100% deposit bonus by using the word town all in caps. Match Bingo combines the excitement of live sport with the thrill of bingo. The deposit minimum is £10, and while bonus cash can't be withdrawn, the winnings, they absolutely can be. So get a 100% deposit bonus by using the word town, all in caps. Terms and conditions apply. Over 18s only. Please gamble responsibly. Should you need to, please visit begambleaware.org for more information to play Match Bingo and potentially use that deposit bonus. Remember the word town all in caps. Links in our description, or scan the QR code on the screen to play now. Right, gut meter test ahead of Blackburn. Here we go, Ben. How confident are you on a scale of 1 to 10, and why are you that confident?
I have managed to, in the transition of Christmas, drop a bit of my cynicism. I was quite cynical last season, and I think in a lot of places for good reason. Up to the end of October, we were pretty fucking poor. But I must say, I can't not acknowledge the improvement I'm seeing all around the pitch, minus probably the striking position. I'm really confident about the weekend. I think we're really finding our groove, and I'm just watching what they're doing. The patterns of play are really there, and you recognise them when you're seeing them. Players are growing, and I'm really confident about the weekend. I really am, and I can see something. I don't think it'll be high scoring, but something like a 2-1, a 2-0, a 1-0. I really do see us winning that, because they're good, Blackburn, but they're not great, and I just think we're finding our stride. And I think it was a really astute move by McKenna to play essentially a lot of our first team in the cup game, because when you're on a bit of a roll, you want to keep the muscles warm and the engine greased. And I think that was a really astute move by McKenna to say, you're doing good, you're playing well. Like Matasiwa playing, everyone thought, why is he playing? Why? Because he's playing really well. And the worst thing you can do is, like an in-game, when the opposition knows you're on top, they fall to the floor, they kill the momentum dead, and it's a great tactic. I think Kieran saw that in the fixture list, and he's keeping a really good team ticking. I'm really confident. I feel a bit more confident than I did in the first half of the season. I'm quietly liking what I'm seeing, so I'm going to go for 2-0, 2-1, 1-0, something like that. How about you, Gov? Where's your gut meter?
All right,
based on everything you've seen.
I would ask for that score prediction again towards the end of the show, just so I want to get it drilled down, and I want a first goal scorer. First two games against Blackburn, if we're all honest, haven't been how we all wanted it to play. Well, it certainly hasn't been how we wanted to play. We didn't win the game. The first one, we didn't look like winning. The second one, again, I would say we didn't really look like winning the game. We walked away with a 1-1 draw in the end. But again, for large periods of it, we weren't at our best. But since then, we have turned a corner. We are more consistent. We are more of a threat. And of course, we're back at Portman Road this weekend, where you'd always expect us to be fairly strong. You know, to put some meat on the bone, Blackburn currently sitting in 20th, play 25, won 7 games, 28 points. They've won 1 of their last 5, drawn 2 of their last 5. And of course, that means they've lost 2 of their last 5 as well.
But what I like, they are better away from home than at home. They're a good team away from home. And for me, that makes me assume they're not just going to come in and low block us or dig 10 men behind the ball. I think they're going to come and play a game of football, which usually plays into our hands. So I just think what they're going to do for round number 13 is come in and actually try and play us. But yeah, so you're kind of where I am. You're kind of feeling okay about it?
I'm feeling like, sometimes there's teams in a season that just, for whatever reason, gives you just you don't match up well against, for whatever reason. The league table says you should,
things like that.
The league table says you should, but for whatever reason, whenever you play them, it just doesn't end up going well. Sometimes there's seasons like that where there's certain teams or managers, tactical ways of playing. I haven't got the home and away records to hand, so I'm going to take you at your word there in regards to their better away from home. I'd still expect them to come and play a low block. I still think that's the blueprint of beating Ipswich. I just look at the first 2 games, and I know one of them we must forget, it never existed, but you can still watch 80 minutes in the torrential rain, yes, but you can still watch 80 minutes and think we weren't great. Then the second game, we weren't also great. So I do want to see us back to what we've been doing before the break. I say the break, obviously we played Blackburn in the Cup, or the postponement, and that's really, I feel Ipswich were just climbing through the gears and starting to really hit a stride. So I'm confident. Certainly an 8, as you should be. I think anytime you're at home against the side that's only won 1 of the last 5, sitting in 20th position, only 4 ahead of Norwich, and we all know how bad Norwich are. So I'm confident. But just that little niggle in the back of my head, just saying, what's the first 2 shown us, and let's be wary and do a good job, and obviously take that into it as well. Like it says, they will just do what every team does: wait for the gap left at the back when defence is stretched and it's on the break. Is it a trap game? I wouldn't put it as a trap game, Mike. No, I don't think Blackburn are necessarily better than their league position suggests. For me, a trap game always comes down to the team you're playing is actually better than the league position suggests they are. And I just don't currently, I might be wrong, That this may be my Lincoln in League One, Ben, where I say, it's only Lincoln at home. I mean, I'm getting beaten 1-0. I don't quite see that yet. I'm going to tell you the 1 to 11, Ben, that was against Oxford.
Okay.
Not against Blackpool, because obviously Blackpool, we had a number of changes.
Yeah.
I just feel the team that last played in the league may be more of an indication of where McKenna may view his strongest League 11. And obviously you've got Walton back in goal for that one. And then you can tell me where you'd make any changes, if any changes whatsoever. So this is the team that obviously beat Oxford on New Year's Day. Walton was in goal. Furlong, O'Shea, Kipre, Davis, Matasiwa, Karius, Egley, Nunez, Philogene, and Akpom was your centre forward. If we'll start at up front, because you've obviously already mentioned Akpom. You're in favour of the loan recall. I'm not. So I'm guessing for this one, he wouldn't be your centre forward starting up front.
I just don't think so, and I just haven't seen enough from him. I will stress test my opinion, because I'll say that the one time we actually played him in a 9, he scored a pretty standard and good goal. I watch him off the ball, and I think it must be a blind spot goal. Everyone seems to see such a great game. He was so good. It's his best game yet. I'm sitting there thinking I just don't see it, and I think it's a bit of Karius syndrome. Everyone tells me how good Karius is, and I watched him and I think you're fucking useless for what we're trying to do. Barring 4 good runs forward, he's been anonymous the entire season. So much so that when you get a 1 run forward, you remember it because it's so damn rare. And I think Akpom's the same. I just haven't seen enough. But then you think, okay, who else have we got? Hurst is injured. Azon, God help me, I like him, and I have no idea why, because it's based on absolutely zero evidence. But neither of those two are at the end of the season, they'll both be gone. That's not our future. So it's what's now. And I just think what Azon does when he stretches the last man and tries and gets run-ins, it pulls Philogene or Clark into the game. So it's more about what he does for the players around him. And that's my opinion. But it's a big hole that we all know needs filling. But for me, it will be Azon, just because of I do think he makes the players around him pull them into that area a bit more, just by the running and the kind of playing off the shoulder that he does. Akpom just kind of jogs there, and sometimes he does stuff, But it's my opinion.
Yeah, look, we've got a feature, obviously our free voice messaging feature, where people can leave their opinions, their questions, their rants, their praises, and we play them out on Sunday's show. And you're more than welcome to do that any point, any time of the day. speakpipe.com/talkingtown, links in the show description. And I ask you to do it, whatever your opinion, thoughts, questions, rants, and praises. We've got that feature, and somebody on the feature about a week ago said, I want to see Akpom given 3 or 4 games up front.
Oh, we've got an obligation to buy. I'm just seeing the comments.
We have, if we go up, yeah.
Fucking what a waste of 2 spaces that would be if we went up. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, but everything in football is always up for negotiation, Ben. It's always that's what I feel with modern football, more so than anything else. Like, everything's always up for negotiation, and never, never. It might be an obligation that you can't get out of if that was the route. But what I was going to say was, I just feel that caller who left the voice message was spot on. I want to see Akpom given a run of games up front. When I've done the Lambert's tactics truck that members have been getting, one of our YouTube and Ko-Fi members, I've been really impressed with Akpom's movement off the ball, in particular his last home down the road. Yeah, he had a really well taken goal. His movement off the ball has been really, really good in trying to threaten defenders in the channel, show feet. Just something we've not quite seen a lot of or enough of from our centre forwards consistently throughout the course of the season. And such limited game time up front, I find it really hard to say for sure whether he is good enough as a second choice answer off the bench, or if he isn't. I just feel we aren't unlocking his potential as a 10. We've now got to try and see if we can get something out of it as a 9.
Well, process of elimination. I hear that.
Just because it hasn't worked in the 10, where he's been sort of more exclusively featured. Just recently, it's been as a 9 through the injuries. And I've just seen a little bit out of him that I really have quite enjoyed sort of watching back when I have done those videos. Mike says, as poor as Akpom's been, he's still a better footballer than Azon. So in terms of Jens Karius, you mentioned you're not overly impressed with Jens.
No.
And I thought you were leaving, negativity back after
No, because the negativity ends the positivity
you
of
didn't
Jack
say
Taylor.
negativity, did you say something else?
Yeah, no, it's Jack Taylor positivity. I love how he's developed and clung on. I would have put money on the fact we'd never see him again, but he's raised his game. And you might argue, okay, in the Premier League he's not quite going to cut it, but I think he does this season. And I think you want a really hard tackling, running midfielder running off of Matasiwa against a team like Blackburn. Jens, arguably, is probably, you could argue, along with Nunes, the best technical footballer at the club. But he does fuck all with it. He's ran forward 30 yards 3 or 4 times. That's his whole contribution to this season so far. And I'll say so far. I just really like Jack Taylor. I love the story of it. I love the development of him. I love the passion. And he plays in a lovely way around Matasiwa. Them two seem to really work well together. And it's really positivity for what I'm seeing, from me. And I never saw it coming with Jack. I don't think any of us really did. But look, McKenna obviously agrees because Matasiwa, McKenna, well, yeah. McKenna agrees because Kayus, he's being benched. So I'm not the only one that sees it.
Yeah, so he obviously started against Oxford. So on that basis of him starting against Oxford, would you be playing Jack Taylor Saturday against Blackburn?
Yes, okay. I would.
Which is fine. And look, normally I'd be in full agreement with you. Everyone knows what I feel about Jack Taylor and what I think he brings to the team. I actually felt Jens Kajus probably had one of his best games this season in the Township against Oxford. I thought his running was brilliant. I thought his ability on the ball. I thought there was a number of times where he picked the ball up in really tight areas, managed to do one of the Jens Kajus type turns that we're starting to become really accustomed to, broke the line.
But I think, but do you not think, I'll be critical with, do you not think the reason is because everyone around him was playing really good too, which they were? Is he the midfielder that's going to pick it up and drag his team forward and create the chances?
No, he's not.
Yeah.
But what I would say is you're absolutely right. The other players around him have been performing really well. But in those instances where he's received the ball in tight areas, I mean, he's at fault. Sloppy with the goal. I wouldn't say he's at fault for the goal, but he was sloppy in the build-up to their equaliser. But there was moments where he received it in the tight areas and one turn and suddenly we're breaking the lines and we've got Jens Kajus, who's a great ball carrier, on the Oxford back line with runners either side. I just felt whether it goes into another start in midfield this Saturday or not is up for discussion. But I just felt that was one of his better games against Oxford, particularly.
I would probably join you there. I would say it was one of his better games, but I'm just thinking of the opposition, and I think Jens is a player that you bring on once you're already doing very, very well, because I think he needs players around him to be really performing well, and I just don't think he's the type. Matasiwa doesn't need that. He just plays his game, and he's on top of so many stats as interceptions and tackles and dribbles in the Championship because he's that player that's going to do it all with himself.
Agreed.
Kajus is not that for me. Look, Jack Taylor's not going to tear it up in the Premier League if we go up. We know that. I just like the energy. I like the vision. I like the passion. I like the running. And whenever he leaves the pitch, he's absolutely knackered. Jens leaves the pitch, he can sprint off. And that's the difference for me. But maybe it's a difference of what we look for in a player.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think. Yeah, all right. We'll leave it there on that one because I don't think we're going to agree on it. That's absolutely fine. That's the whole point of the show that we don't agree necessarily. That we actually do have different points of view, and we bring it to the Talking Town community, and we debate it, and we have it said in a fair and proper way, and the chat can obviously have their say as well. And moving on to the right hand side, Egley started against Oxford. Wes Burns played against Blackpool. Got some really good minutes as he continues his rehabilitation or his return rather from injury. Would you be starting Wes Burns? Are you still going to be giving Egley the nod? Does Casey McAteer potentially feature for you? Who is your right winger for
Egley, just to protect Burns? Although I think, and some of this has to be a bit of passion and all the history, and we're all human and susceptible to it. Wes took a bit of a knock, but he came back on. He's still working his way back. That's not an injury you want twice because that retires you. I still say he's came on, scored a goal. He played started fantastic. Just pull him back a little bit of a rest, and I'll put Egley in there. Although you could argue that other one, Leicester, McAteer. Against a team like Blackburn, he's actually quite good defensively and how he covers his right back. And you've got to think that if they're going to come on block, you want to play like that. But I think Egley for me, really. I think just he seems to be quite bulletproof, actually, especially in tough January, freezing cold games against kind of hardened block teams. I don't want to risk Wes. Arguably, I could put McAteer. I'll be the only person in the stadium who thinks that McAteer's. We overpaid for him. That's not his fault. Maybe that's someone you come on to protect a 2-0 lead, and I think that's probably his place in the team. But Egley for me. How about you?
Well, Mike says Burns, surely because he's got some pace. Luke says Burns right wing, Egley 10, Jaden left wing. I'd be going Egley still, or maybe Wes, but I'd be starting with Egley. I like Egley. I want to continue that development, and while we're winning and developing, it's a really ideal world, and it's great to have an option in Wes Burns off the bench, or a Casey McAteer if that's how Kieran McKenna wants to go. And then on the left, a player who scored predominantly his goals, if not all of his goals, at Portman Road, and Jaden Philogene or Jack Clark. I would go Jaden Philogene. It was Philogene against Oxford. I think he's arguably our most dangerous or most effective attacking player, and I just can't see any world. So you watch him not play, but I can't see any world, Ben, where Jaden Philogene isn't your starting left winger.
Oh, I actually can. I can see a world where it happens. Although
not at home. Surely not at Portman Road, where he's been so effective and so in form.
Yeah, Philogene's unplayable when he bothers to show up, and thankfully it's about 75% of the time rather than 20% last season. But I think they offer different things, him and Jack. Jack runs more with the ball. I think he runs more inside. I think he brings more other players into it, whereas Philogene tends to rely on that magic and that moment of genius. And if he's on it, he's the best player in this division by a mile. But I would argue he's bottom half Premier League ready as far as I'm concerned. But I'm just thinking of the team we're playing. They're going to stick 3 fucking monsters up to surround him. And I wonder if Jack Clark's a bit more suited to how they might try and nullify him. But we'll see. I'll be happy with either, to be honest with you.
Okay. Luke says Jaden Best is a better left winger as he has a sweet right foot cutting on in from. Aid says McKenna has a huge issue balancing the front four. I don't see it as a huge issue, Aid. I think the balance of the front four is actually kind of the best we've had it for a little while. Nunez in that 10, Ben.
I would agree.
Decide on which player to play out on the right, really, and you could get really good results from any of them, particularly Burns and Egley. Yeah. I'm yet to see it from McAteer, but I'm desperate to see it. And of course, you've got Jaden and Jack Clark, you've just expertly spoken on there. I think the balance is really quite good at the moment.
I agree. And look, we're coming up to an unreal congestion of fixtures. Yeah. And although it's a lot harder to understand heavy rotation when things are lighter, like October, September time, I think maybe you're going to start really seeing paying dividends now, because players get injured, they hit the ground hard, they want to just adjust the tactics. On the right wing, you've got 3 options. On the left wing, you've got 2 options, and those 2 options are the best in the league. We've got a pretty settled 10, but Jack and Egley could also be in a 10 as well. I'm fairly comfortable. It's a squad. It's a squad thing. It's just that striker role for me. It's just that striker role.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to hear your thoughts more, Aid, as to what you think the balancing issue is there for McKenna. I'd love to hear more of it, and we can bring it to the show, and we can debate it, and we can talk about it. Might have spotted something that we haven't seen, Aid. So appreciate your comment. The one that I'm sort of going to highlight, so you watch him get sold tomorrow, just because it's his old club, yet to score at Portman Road. He's the player on this week's match preview thumbnail, Sammy Schmodix, obviously back from illness, played a little bit against Blackpool. If this is a game where you think, is this the one where Schmodix gets his first goal at Portman Road, then why not? If you believe in those sorts of things where players play, for whatever reason, have better luck against their older sides, this could be the one. So that's why I've highlighted on the match thumbnail, just because I think his previous employment was Blackburn, hasn't scored at Portman Road yet. I don't think he'll start, Ben, but certainly off the bench, I haven't got the odds, but it wouldn't be bad to put a cheeky pound on, would it? Perhaps it'd be decent odds.
Yeah, but it'll be on Providence. Yeah, it'll be on Providence and fate rather than any kind of evidence. I think I think of all the players we've signed, for me, he's actually been the most disappointing. funnily enough. Akpom, everyone kind of knew it was a freaky season. You can even argue with McAteer. Everyone knew he overpaid. I said you pay $1 million for McAteer. No one even touches him or criticises him. But for what Smodics was, for how he was just scoring goals, right, even after we'd done the deal, pretty much, he still started for Blackburn and scored 2 goals in that game. And maybe it's the way he's played, whatever. It's for the expectation compared to what I'm seeing. It's just not cutting it for me. And if this is to be a swan song, stick him in the window. Hopefully a bit of fate and providence comes in, get your goal, get another team interested, and thank you very much.
You see, I think it'd be a crying shame to lose a player of
really
his quality. Yeah, at this level, look, you don't score them the amount of goals he scored for Blackburn that earned him the £9 million move.
Well, that's fine. That's great if you're Blackburn, but he hasn't done it. I
just don't think we've found the ingredient to unlock him yet.
In 2.5 years.
Happen. Yeah, well, a year of that was in the Premier League, half of which he was injured with an ankle injury, which he picked up. And
that's another problem.
He came back in the FA Cup, got injured again against Coventry, then missed some game time, which I think actually in the end ended his season. In terms of actually playing, you could argue the level that got him the move, which it was the Championship. We've not seen an awful lot of Sammy Smodic. So it's a great player. I think he's a really good player in there. I like the player. And if we can just unlock him, that in itself could be like a brand new signing in the second half of the season. But if you could find the Blackburn,
who did you replace? Who did you replace?
I don't think he has to replace anybody. This is the thing now. I think you've got your number. Yeah, I think you've got your number 10.
Yeah, okay,
right. You've got your number 10 in Marcelino Nunez. 8 assists, made that position his own. He's now got to put the pressure on Nunez, Ben, to try and dislodge him out of the team. And I think that's a different kettle of fish. It's could be less pressure, you could argue. Could be any number of reasons, different formation, different way we play now with our 10s in sense of, I think for a lot of the first half of his Town career, Ben, he was playing as an inside 10 on the left.
Yeah, he was.
I don't think it really suits him, but I'm not watching a whole lot of Blackburn. It could well be that it suits him. But I do think if you could unlock the player that we signed from Blackburn in the second half of this season, Ben, that in itself is a brand new signing. In itself would be.
Just like I get it, but does it pass the eye test? I want McAteer to be Wes Burns. I just don't think he will be.
But nothing passes the eye test until it eventually passes the eye test. Step forward, Jaden Philogene, who, if I'd said to you in the summer, you'd be saying is our most effective attacking player, you would probably say, yeah, maybe not, Gov. Maybe not. Nothing passes the eye test until it passes the eye test.
I think if he'd have been with us for 2 years by that point, yeah. But I think we've had Smodics for a while now, and there's been no counter evidence to say he's suddenly going to go on no more than Akpom's going to suddenly score 12 goals with it now. I just it's McKenna has tried him in all sorts of positions, subs, starting, different kind of formations, different sort of seasons in a different times of the season. And it seems nothing seems to work. Out short of making him a midfielder or a striker, which are about the only other different things you can do. I think McKenna's tried everything he can think of, and I just don't think. And I think actually as a squad, I think we've actually gone a bit beyond him a little bit. I like him. I love his work rate, and anyone in the Town shirt gets my support. I just think we've grown past it, and there's a time when you've got to say the experiment has been run and the results are in.
Yeah, Leighton James said it's predictable not getting the best out of players. 2 golden boots. Don't forget how to score. I think he's referencing Akpom and Smodic, both perhaps looking poor in the McKenna system.
Mike yet here we are.
Yeah, Mike says he's good on the break. Smodic likes to go up the Etihad. Counter-attacking is when he looks good. Andrew, because of the energy and being a pest, I looked at putting. I would look at putting him in a central midfield role next to Matasiwa. I'm not quite sure he's got enough about him to play in the central midfield, but I can see where you're going with it, Andrew. Appreciate the comment, absolutely. Look, I wasn't paid by Sammy Smodic there to stand up and try and put forward how he could be like a new signing in the second part of the window. Because and with that in mind, he'll probably be sold tomorrow. And this whole last 5 minutes will make me look incredibly silly.
Sometimes it just doesn't work. And it might be something we don't even know about. He might have shitty neighbours for all we know. Sometimes it just doesn't work at a club, and he might go to another club and absolutely flourish. And I really hope so, because he seems like a really good character, with a really good work rate. I just don't think it. Probably when you're younger, because you're a bit older now, you date people, you date them for a while, a few months. Nice people, make you laugh, good sex, good jokes, good meals, family like them, and it just doesn't work. And I think that's kind of what Sammy Smodics is for us. It looks great. There's nothing particularly wrong. It just doesn't quite work. And that's good enough for me. And for Sammy's sake, go try it again. Go fresh. He's just come off of an injury. He's ready for first team football. Go and find it, because he deserves a break, I think.
Okay. No, that's fun. Yeah, no, absolutely. Don't forget, we are partnered with Stomach Osteopaths. Give them a call on 01449 613 623. That's Stomach Osteopaths for osteopath and physiotherapy services. Been going since 1985, so well worth a visit in if you're not from Stowmarket. 01449 613 633. I go there myself, so that's why I mentioned it. 01449 613 633. All right, last segment of the evening, score prediction and first goal scorer. Ben, you've already said 2-1 Town, so I know your score prediction, but I want to know yours at home, whether live or on catch up. Let us know. So all that's left for you to do to round us up, while those at home tell us who their first goal scorer is and what their score prediction is. Who is your first Town goal scorer going to be in this 2-1 win?
It's got to be Akpom and Smodic.
I'd love that. I'd love that.
Look, so would I, and there'll be hundreds.
Set up twice by Jens Kajust.
Fucking idiot.
Set up twice by Jens Kajust.
with 2 assists when Ken started. And look, if it happens, I will be as happy as any of you guys.
You
honestly.
certainly will be.
I think Philogene, just because of the form, and he's such a wonderful player to watch. And I've got this really funny suspicion that Jack Taylor is going to start and score this one. And I don't know why. I just think he's due a goal. And he's shooting, he's trying, he's just due one. So Philogene for the first, in the Philogene way, from the left of the box, curling into the far corner. And I think Jack Clark, and it will be something like a screamer. That's for me.
Okay, all right.
Jack Taylor, sorry, not Jack Clark. Jack Taylor.
That's all right.
Jack Taylor.
Mike D says winning goal in the 79th minute. How good would that be? The winning goal in the 79th minute, just against Blackburn. Obviously, the game was called off on the 80th.
Oh, of course. Sorry, I was catching up there. 1-7. Yeah.
Or even better, they're leading 1-0. 80th minute hits. Town scored 2 last minute winners to all go home very happy with 3 points, and of course proved that you have to play for a full 90 to really get the true reflection of a game. But hey, we're going backwards. We're going forwards, right? We're looking forwards. That's in the past. We're always looking forwards. Andrew said, report tonight anticipates that we are for a player from Strasbourg, which we spoke about a bit earlier in regards to a potential rumour.
Yeah. Gav, who were your scorers, by the way?
Okay, so I mean, you can't ever go wrong with Jaden Philogene at Portman Road. You can't ever go wrong with Jaden Philogene.
The kids say.
I fancy us for a set piece goal. We got one against Blackburn, I know, but before that we had a couple of moments. Dara O'Shea in the last league game where off the line. We've really shown some good improvement with our set pieces, and
I agree.
It's about time. And I've been criticising it for the last 18 months, so it's only right that I say when there has been improvement, or I feel like there's been improvement, and I really do feel like there has been. So full credit to Mark Hudson and the team there that obviously put together those set pieces. So I fancy us for a set piece goal.
Who scores that set piece goal?
Probably Dara O'Shea. You came close.
So you're thinking like corner rather than free kick and Nunes?
I'm thinking corner, yeah. I mean, free kicks, when you've got a player like Nunes, they should always be good because he's a very good set piece taker. But equally, you give with one hand, but it doesn't mean you look away when it's not great. And defensively, set piece wise, we could still be a little bit more tighter. And I still would say if they score, it probably could be through a set piece. I do still see us being a little bit lacking in those areas for me.
I agree.
For me, I'm not a set piece coach, but I do like a set piece, and I do like to see one defended well, particularly as a centre half, that just to get his head on it quite a lot and shout out at the same time. The sort. We've all played Sunday morning with them. They head of the ball and they go, "Ow!" and they scream up the pitch. That was me. That was me. All right, look, we're done for the evening. Thank you so much for joining us live or on catch up. Comment for the algorithm if you're on catch up. Like and subscribe. And don't forget, you can follow Tom's great lead from the first part of the show by becoming a member. Hit the join button on YouTube and get access to those little tactics videos I was speaking about and things like that as a thank you for being a member and supporting myself as a content creator and just really allowing us to dig in and dive deeper and go further with the type of stuff that we do here. But until then, this man here has been the magnificent Milk Tray Man, Ben Adams, with his loyal following. So if you do see Ben, make sure you do obviously pay for his hot chocolate.
I really appreciate it. It's really kind. It's just people who are just excited about their football club and just want to talk about it. It's great. Yeah. This is what we do in the stands anyway with people around us. This is what's great about it.
I mean, other refreshments are available, right? You are open to other refreshments as well. You would never say no to any refreshments. Right?
Wine gums, not the sausage rolls. The pies are okay.
Sausage rolls are awful. I made that mistake once myself.
They're poor. They're really. They taste like a cow's kneecap or something. It's disgusting.
They're woeful.
Yeah,
woeful.
It's fun, isn't it? We've got American owners whose whole thing is about hospitality, and we still don't serve burgers, hot dogs, or chips.
Oh no, the hospitality food is absolutely gorgeous. I've been to hospitality a few times. Beautiful, right? You even get a little biscuit at the end of the game. Stunning.
A lot of money for it.
Stand kiosk. You're lucky if you've got a sausage roll left by 5.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
But the one, even if you get there early, they're not worth getting there early for. So although there are Forge burgers in the fan zone, and they're always pretty good.
Okay.
So a little plug there. That's not been lined up, but yeah, the
Forge.
I think the Forge are going to be there with their van. Pies are great. I don't like pie. I'm not a pie.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. If you're hungry, it's good enough. But it's not a fan generally. No. The chicken bowling pie. I'm always at the burger van by Sir Alf. I go every game. I sit at Sir Alf's feet. I eat my burger and chips. We used to do the podding and before the game, and I'm off. That's the burger van for me. They do it right. They've got 8 people just bang, 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 non-stop. They do it exactly right. Like, good stuff.
No.
God, I'm hungry now.
Yeah, I've had dinner and I've had birthday cake.
I haven't. I went to work just before the podcast.
I bought a donut earlier. Right, we're finished. I'm going off for a donut. Thanks for watching. Take care. God bless. All the best. You've reached the end. Thank you so much for watching. Hit here to subscribe. It's totally free. And hit here for more Talking Town videos. I'll see you on the next one.